Rise from your grave.
Welcome to Book of Blood. Blah, 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 blah.
Flippity, flippity.
What the serious fuck?
We're very professional.
Welcome to Butcher Block Horror Podcast, where we exhume horror movies from the past and cut into what makes them so delectable. I'm Kane.
I am JD.
And I am Joe.
No, you're not! Joe is a witch!
Oh, let's burn him.
There is no Joe, there is only Zool.
Nice. Kane is the gatekeeper.
Exactly.
Found out Joe is a witch. We need to stab Joe in the left eye.
All right, that's fine.
And pound a mask with nails on the inside into his face.
No, they did that and it didn't work.
The mask of Satan.
I got excited when you said pound, but then I didn't like the other parts.
Could it be Satan?
Anyway,
El Diablo!
today we're throwing Black Sunday onto the slab and carving up our favorite portions to force feed to you, our unwitting victims.
Black Hole Sunday, won't you come?
There are actual songs called Black Sunday, Joe.
Yeah, but shut up.
Sweeten the ride, Black Sunday.
There's that Coffin Shakers song. I'm just saying, you could have actually used the Black Sunday song. So next time, just put that in your notes for doing better. But yeah, anyway, we watched Black Sunday. If you enjoy the taste of these feasts of fright, make sure to review us wherever you consume your podcasts.
Nope.
We have a website, ?
We do.
We give you brainworms.com.
Mhm.
That's where you can join our Funky Fresh Discord server, as well as support the show directly with our Patreon link.
Pump up the jams.
If you do the YouTube, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and click the bell so you're notified whenever we upload new content. If that's your jam.
Mm-hmm. And lick the bell.
No one licks the bell, Joe.
But if they start,
Why would they?
Yeah, click it or lick it.
Wait, what? Oh, God.
the power of suggestion, it's a thing.
Yeah.
All right, so Black Sunday, this was a fun movie. I had a
Yes.
good time with this
I had a
one.
good time.
I did too.
Mario Bava for the win.
Yeah, score. He had the hat trick. Black Sunday was released August 11th of 1960 in Italy.
That's not what that means.
That's okay.
No, Joe. Go ahead and tell us what it means so that we're educated.
I don't know. It's a sports thing. I don't know what it means either, but it's not that.
Right.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. Black Sunday had a runtime of 87 minutes.
One of the longer movies we've watched this season.
Yeah. this
Yeah, a
season.
little bit.
But didn't feel like it. I'll be honest.
No,
it did not feel like it.
Yeah, it didn't carry on monotonously as some of the films we've watched have.
Yeah, it kind of lost me a little bit at about like the 45 minute mark, but
That's because you were really sad that the priest and the lead actor didn't end up getting it on.
yeah, that priest was very handsome.
Yeah, you wanted him to make out.
Yeah, I at least wanted him to take his shirt off. A hat trick is when you score 3 times in one game, by the way.
Thank you for that.
I think Mario Bava scored 3 times in this movie. Makeup effects, story, and...
I feel like you're stretching the
The budget, fellas, the budget.
budget.
I'm going to guess. Hold on. I guess it was $60,000.
No, not bad. Not a bad guess. It
Joe,
was-
what's your guess?
$55,000.
What? You just prices right me, you piece of shit?
I did.
Kane was closer. Technically, it had a $100,000 US budget.
Woohoo! What do I
Um,
win? What do
I
I
should
win?
have gone 60. Should have gone the other way.
A slap over the balls with my notebook.
A brand new car.
Thank you, Joe. I want the car. I don't want the slap over my bits and pieces.
I don't actually have a car to give you. You're getting the ball slap.
God damn it.
I just wanted you to have your hopes up, and then when JD runs
Hits
into
me
your
with his
house and
notebook.
slaps you on the balls, you're thinking it's going to be like this big moment.
I'll even close the notebook. How about that? I'll make sure that the spiral edge is not making direct contact with your sack.
If I want it, I want the whole thing. So I want the spiral and everything. It's something I want. I want the full thing, you know.
That's fine. I'll hit you a few times. It'll be all right.
Good. I never win anything, so this works out for me.
Everything's turning up Millhouse for you today. I will say that much.
Everything's coming up, Kane.
All right, hold on. All right, so JD, the budget was $100,000.
$100,000 with a box office return of 139 million Italian lira, which converts to $77,027.
That's less dollars than they put into it.
Yeah.
It bombed,
It was a rather limited financial performance.
which is sad because it was well done.
It was well done, and a lot of film critics praised this movie for some of the extreme camera movements, and Bava was compared to a soulful painter by some critics.
Makes sense.
I totally see it. It was an artful horror film with a lot of good things in the right places. Again, the film was directed by Mario Bava, who was born July 31st of 1914 in Italy.
Yeah.
He ceased to exist April 27th of 1980.
We don't cease to exist, JD. All right? Our energy just moves back
matter
out.
cannot be created or destroyed. Just change its form.
I thought it was energy.
Whatever. Shut up. Well, matter is made up of energy, so it's this functionally the same thing.
It's not.
Well, his physical body took a permanent break on that day. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. He went home to Jesus.
Whoa. Maybe not.
Hey-ho. So yeah, we've talked a good bit about Mario, and rightfully so, because he's got it. And whatever it is, it runs in the family.
Yeah, baby, he's got it.
Yes, we've discussed Mario's son, Lamberto Bava, who is immensely talented and made cool shit as well.
Yep. Show some demons love.
Yeah.
But let's spend a second on Mario's father for just a moment, because Mario's father had a good bit to do with the special effects in this film.
Wait. Mario's father did the special effects in this film?
Yep, Eugenio Bava.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
Yeah. Mario followed in his father's footsteps, big time. He was a true special effects pioneer. Anyway.
Any which way but loose?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, back to Mario.
Hey, it's me, Mario.
Thank you for that. He directed some bangers, such as Black Sabbath, Planet of the Vampires, Kill
No,
Baby
Joe,
Kill.
no. Stop it, Joe. Stop it. No. Black Sabbath is the movie that the band got their name from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it for sure is. Blood and Black Lace,
Blood and Black Lace.
Hatchet for the Honeymoon,
Fuck yes.
A Bay of Blood.
Dude, I want to start a band called Hatchet for the Honeymoon.
It's a good band name. I'm surprised there's not a band called that.
And the list keeps going and going and going.
So basically, he just came up with good band names, is what you're saying. Much like this podcast.
And cool kick-ass movies. Yep.
Yeah.
Black Sunday was produced by Massimo De Rita. 2 producer credits, including The Evil Eye. To be particular, he was the executive producer on that one.
Mm.
And then also produced Black Sunday. And now, on to the plot of Black Sunday.
Real quick, there is a band that existed that was called Hatchet for the Honeymoon. It was a harsh noise walls duo that split up in early 2011.
No, I'll have to check them out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so tell us about this story.
What's the story, Morning Glory?
We're going to hop into a time machine as this plot takes us back to the 1630s, to Moldavia, which I believe to be a place somewhere in Romania. And it is here where we meet Asia Vaja.
Who was played by the gorgeous, powerful writer, director, actress, Barbara Steele.
Who is also portraying a vampire witch. And her paramour, Javutic. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Whatever.
Let's just call him Igor.
Igor.
Yeah, that was played by Arturo Dominici. I would like to, again, before we get too deep into this, apologize to everyone because, we apologize about this a lot and we don't actually do anything to get better at it.
Yeah, like we could just look up the pronunciations of these words. We don't.
Is it laziness or have we turned this into a bit where we just sound like idiots the whole time?
It's probably a bit. I do a bit of shemping. Now I think it's just funnier to butcher the name than to say it correctly.
I'm sure that the people whose names we are butchering would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sure they think it's really funny that we're just...
I'm well aware I could learn how to pronounce the name correctly, but now it's just... I say fuck it and just sound as ignorant as possible.
There we go.
It's a very American way to live your life.
Yeah, right?
It is. He's a patriot.
He's a real American hero.
He's a real American hero.
G.I. Joe! Pork chop sandwiches.
He's a real American. Fight for the rights of every man.
Well, maybe not every man.
Was it Hulk Hogan in the 80s had that like theme as a real American?
Ooh, yeah, brother.
That is not Hulk Hogan.
Who is it then?
I want you to dig deep into your soul.
Oh, the Macho Man. Oh, yeah, I used to love the Macho Man Randy Savage snapping into them Slim Jims.
You know, I actually do have a memory that Joe's going to ultimately cut out.
Yeah.
Of getting out of church on Sundays and watching wrestling and Macho Man versus George the Animal Steele.
Ooh, that dude was cool.
And how George the Animal Steele was madly in love with Macho Man's lady, Elizabeth.
Oh, yeah, the Queen Elizabeth.
And she could calm George the Animal Steele, and that's usually why Macho Man Randy Savage would beat the shit out of him, is because she would calm him.
Oh, man, that was a tactical double team in that case.
But yeah, we're not talking about Macho Man Randy Savage. We're talking about Arturo Dominici as Igor Javotic.
So yeah, these two, they are in deep shit. One foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel. As they are sentenced to death for their acts of sorcery, which I would praise them for.
You know, what's funny is that Javotic was killed off screen.
Yeah.
Like, we just see his corpse. We don't actually see him alive in the beginning of the movie.
We just know that he's in a bad way. So anyway, yeah, their prosecutor happens to be Asia's brother. I believe that's Grabib?
Whatever.
Why don't we just call him Prince Vaja?
All right.
It was Ivo Garini. It was Prince Vaja.
Welcome to Butcher Block, the podcast where we drink during the day.
What are you talking about? I had never stopped drinking last night.
That's fair.
So is it Grabby? Is that how you'd pronounce it?
Just call him like Wiggly Pete or something.
No, it's Prince Vaja.
Prince Vaja. All right, that's simpler. Asia isn't taking this one laying down, though.
She's actually taking it tied to a stake.
Yeah, and taking it to the limit one more time.
I'm going to punch you, Joe.
But she's pissed, and she doesn't love it. She really doesn't. And she vows revenge.
Which is always a kind of a boss move when you're about to be burned at the stake.
Yeah.
And instead of begging for your life, you know what? She's like, nah, fuck that. I'm going to curse you bitches.
Yep, I'm in league with Satan, and Satan's going to help me fuck you guys up later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she does it through placing a generational curse on the prince and all of his future descendants, which is, wow, that's like a pee-pee slap with my notebook every day for the rest of your life.
What?
Spiral side down.
I think it's worse than that. I think that I would rather take a pee-pee slap than have a generational curse. Where all of my family members will be consumed by the devil.
The devil.
El Diablo.
Yep. So, Asia and Javotic receive bronze masks with spikes on the inside of them.
That look like the devil.
Yeah, it's like the Mask of Satan, the subtitle of the film.
Yeah. And they also give Jim Carrey incredible powers.
That's a completely different movie, Joe.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Put the whiskey down for just about 20 minutes, and then you can get back to it.
So these masks,
Can't stop, won't
they
stop.
get hammered down onto each of their faces by some,
I get hammered, too.
Can we talk a little bit about the buff guys that JD's about to talk about?
yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, they were very muscular.
And very oiled.
And very oiled, and I like to imagine when they're done being executioners that they go and cuddle each other.
A little cuddle puddle.
Yeah, like rub each other's oiled bodies, you know?
Yeah.
Leather daddy style. And they're hooded, like the classic hooded executioner, like whatever you close your eyes and imagine, it's that.
Yeah. But just like platonic cuddling, you know?
Sure.
Right. Doesn't need to be sexual.
No,
it can
no,
just
they
be
just
comforting.
cuddle.
You
Yeah.
know, you've had a long day of committing torture and execution, and sometimes you just want to be held.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those were some heavy hammers, you know?
I'm okay, you're okay, you know.
Yeah.
Just validation.
Yeah, what we did was okay. We're not evil. This is all good.
We're doing what we have to do. Yeah.
Let's just be.
Mhm.
Let's just be.
Just hold me in your big muscular arms.
And I will hold you in
Yeah.
my big muscular arms.
And I'm just going to feel real safe and comforted, like pressed into your pecs. You can like rub my hair a little bit.
Together we will breathe.
I might have projected a little bit of myself into that story. Let's keep moving.
Suddenly, a mystical storm comes along that looked absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
It looked fantastic.
It prevents the pair from being barbecued, burned at the stake. So now we are going to go ahead and, back in the time machine, we fast forward into the future about 2 centuries later, where we are introduced to Dr. Chroma. Oh my goodness.
Crouvaillon.
Crouvaillon. Oh yeah, Crouvaillon, my lord. Crouvaillon. Oh Lord.
All right.
All
He was-
right, thank you for that though.
That doctor was played by Andrea Cecchi.
Andrea Cecchi did a whoop-ass job being the Crouvaillonage.
Yeah.
We will also meet assistant Dr. Andre Gorobek.
Very good-looking gentleman played by John Richardson.
And these two happen to be traveling through Moldavia.
Terrible hair. I know I talked about it a little bit when we were watching the movie, but I hated Dr. Andrej Gorobek's hair.
You really
in this
weren't
movie.
feeling that hair.
It was awful.
But guys like us, though, we don't have a whole lot of room to criticize the follicle challenges we come up against.
That's where I disagree. As individuals,
I actually have a full head of thick hair, so I can't really speak to that.
JD and I don't, so shut up. Because of the fact that we don't have the opportunity to style our hair.
To grow bad hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel called upon to let people with hair that misuse their hair, we're called upon to let them know that they're misusing their hair.
So you're like the Ghost of Christmas Past of hair.
Yep.
Well, together, we're like that sequence of ghosts that visit people with awful hair. Like, Kane gets them for an hour, I get them for the next hour.
Right, yeah.
Joe, when I was tattooing you recently, what was the first thing I said when you got out of the car?
You said that my hair looked good.
Hold still while I slap your nuts with this notebook.
No,
that's you.
I said, damn, your hair looks great.
Right, and then you complimented my shirt.
And then you kissed him on the cheek.
Yeah. So what I'm telling you is that I, as a bald guy that can't grow hair, see the beauty in hair and the mistakes, and I'm fully willing to let people know when their hair looks like shit.
So because you don't have hair, you appreciate it more in
Exactly.
others. Sure.
Exactly.
Back to the plot of Black Sunday.
That was fun.
So we got the, Crouvaillon and Gorobek, and they are traveling through Moldavia en route to some medical conference. But our temporary...
Can we talk about their poor fucking coachman?
I mean, he was drinking the whole time.
Yeah, they were punking that guy out left and right.
To get through their bullshit.
So Nikita, the coachman, was played by Mario Passante.
He was good.
He was fantastic. He was just terrified the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Traveling
so
through the
good.
creepy forest.
Yeah.
Very superstitious guy. He wasn't feeling the witchy forest.
The creepy forest that they coerced him into going through.
By flipping him a fucking coin. They're like, this'll cover it.
Yeah, by preying on his poverty.
Turn the screws.
Because that's what rich doctors do.
Yeah, it's turning the screws left and right on this poor guy. So once they're done holding his feet to the fire, anyway, he takes them through, and they're derailed from their plans when a wheel on the carriage breaks, and the coachman, not to fret, he embraces the task of repairing the wheel, but it's going to take a sec.
Because they wouldn't help him.
Yeah.
Well, they're hoity-toity, medical professionals.
What is it? Many hands makes small work.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just walked by him and went to fuck around in the forest.
Yep. The two doctors, they wander off as if either of them had never seen a horror movie before. These two ding-dongs go wandering off and discover an ancient crypt where they find
And chapel.
Asia's tomb. And, they observe Asia's death mask through a glass panel. Crouvaillon accidentally busts out And because of this awesome scene,
well, not accidentally,
there was this like a giant bat.
Yeah, I love watching human actors fight rubber bats on strings in old movies.
It was phenomenal.
And you know what? It was smart too, because we never directly see the bat.
Yeah,
we only see its shadow and we see the edges.
You kind of see it flopping around for a minute, but they don't commit to
They
it.
didn't go like 1931 Dracula with it.
Right.
Like they did it in a very smart way.
Well, they knew that prop wasn't strong enough, so they're like, if we show more than 30% of this at any given moment, people are going to laugh. So, like, let's keep it mysterious as possible.
Yeah, the creators of Spasm could have learned a thing or two.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, great point. So, he's shooing away this bat, and it really just showed up to fuck with him for a minute. And so now we have a situation.
He fucking shoots it.
He does.
Yeah.
He's got a little like midnight special in his pocket. He pulls that shit out and shoots it. Sorry, that scene is just so good on so many levels. First he's fighting it, then he fucking shoots it, and when it lands on the casket, he then beats it with his cane.
Well, he just had to make sure, you don't...
He shot it!
Yeah, but still, like...
Even if it was still alive, it was not going to be alive for long. But he was so fucked up by the thing attacking him that he was just like, die, beast, die!
Yeah, it was a very fun scene of a human actor fighting a rubber prop and eventually pulling out a gun and just shooting at it.
So at this point, the crypt is open. Kruvayan can't help himself. He removes Asia's death mask, revealing a pretty decent looking face.
Very preserved.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well preserved considering the circumstances.
So the setup for that crypt I thought was pretty fun because I've never encountered that in any other film. Anytime there's a vampire, witch, or some other satanic horror, the fact that they had a glass opening where the face was with a cross over top of it, that was fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
But that got broken.
It surely did. And this dingus cuts himself on the broken glass, and some of his blood drips down. Wow, English language is really doing a number on me this afternoon.
I wonder if we should keep that in so that people know that while we do butcher languages we're not familiar with,
we also can't speak our own language.
Yes.
Yeah.
We also just butcher our own language.
So a little bit of his blood drips down onto Asia. So then we meet Katya.
Katya Vaja.
Yes. And she tells the two doctors about how she lives in a nearby castle with her father and her broham, Constantine. And the villagers believe the castle to be haunted.
And she has two beautiful, gorgeous dogs that are very dead now.
Yeah. So Gorobek is smitten with Katya. She is quite the looker, haunting beauty, with a touch of sadness.
Because Barbara Steele.
And a touch of Satan.
Yeah, there was a touch of Satan.
A touch of Satan and a touch of sadness. I think the two can go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Both things are super appealing to me.
Yeah, I dig. Anyway,
yeah.
He's rock hard and believes her to be good for a poke.
Oh my God.
The two men take off and they drive to some inn. Meanwhile, back at the ancient crypt,
some stuff starts happening.
Spooky stuff.
Yeah.
Very spooky stuff.
Kruvayan's blood gets to work on Asia, springing her back to life. And he's got the good blood.
He's got the look.
Asia begins to contact her old flame telepathically. He wakes the fuck up and rises from his grave.
Rise from your grave.
You really like doing that, don't you?
I do love the Altered Beast reference. That was a hell of a game.
It's a good reference.
Really, I think it was one of the first games where there's a cool werewolf coming to town,
There was a laundromat right near my house when I was a little kid, and they had two video games. They had Mario Brothers, and they had Altered Beast.
You're like, Dad, I'm going to go do the laundry. Is that cool?
Yep.
And then you take all of the quarters you were going to use on the laundry, play Altered Beast, and come back with a bunch of folded dirty clothes.
I wish I had done that. That would have resulted in me getting one hell of an ass whipping. So no, I did not do that.
This is just the Kane reminiscing about the the late 80s kind of situation.
This would have been the mid-'80s, you fuck. I'm old.
What it have been? I was born in 1985. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, I was probably maybe 4 or 5 going down to the laundromat.
Playing the video games.
So her dude, he rises from his grave and he gets to business.
Rise from your grave.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I guess that's going to happen.
Yeah, you did it a bunch of times during the movie, too.
He heads off to Prince Vaja's castle. And here he is greeted by Vaja.
Prince Vaja.
Prince Vaja, who holds up a crucifix to ward off the reanimated corpse. Doesn't love it.
Not that anybody gives a shit, but that was an Eastern Orthodox crucifix.
Makes sense.
Nice. And you were right. I don't give a shit. Prince Vaja is horrified, literally paralyzed with fear. Constantine sends a servant to summons Dr. Cruvaillon, but he gets murdered real hard.
He dies hard with a vengeance.
Real quick, can I tell everyone who played Constantine? Is that okay?
Do it.
It's Enrico Olivieri.
Excellent.
Cool. Cool story.
So Chaimovich brings Cruvaillon over to the castle under the pretense that his services are needed.
I feel like things have been discombobulated a little bit.
Because I can't even finish a sentence today without getting, thrown in the blender.
I'm sorry.
Kane telling a fun wrestling story.
Yeah, I mean, it's like at this point, my brain's just on. I'm on. What do you call that? Reaction. I'm reactionary. I can't even read the notes that I have. It's like
because of our bullshit. So you're blaming us for the fact that you can't read the notes that you wrote down?
A little bit, just a little bit. It's distracting, but it's okay. I signed up for this.
So it's our fault.
I do want to talk about the fact that when the doctors were getting drunk, and they're getting hammered at the end.
Yeah, they were visible.
Hammer time. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, they were just chugging vodka. We have the innkeeper, who's played by Clara Bindi, sends her daughter, Sonia, played by Germana Dominici, to go milk a cow.
Yeah, late at night in the dark.
In the middle of the night.
We were constructing a justification for why they were sending that child out to milk a cow that late in the evening.
Yeah, and it was because she was supposed to do it that morning, fucked around, didn't do it, and then mom was like, I'm going to teach you a lesson, and the lesson is you're going to go milk the cow next to the creepy cemetery.
Bet you'll do it during the day next time.
Back to Chaimovich and Cruvaillon, and he brings him over to Asia's crypt instead of the castle.
And Sonia watches this.
From the cow barn.
Yes, and she hypnotizes him and declares that she needs the rest of his blood now.
Mm-hmm.
So she then gives...
Kisses.
Yeah, she gives him a big old smooch right on the lips.
Yeah.
And sucks his blood from his mouth.
This action makes him subservient to her immediately.
I mean, I understand.
Asia commands Cruvaillon to check out Prince Vaja.
Vaja!
He orders the crucifix to be removed from this room.
Very clever.
And this allows Chaimovich to return later so he can then do some murdering.
Murder.
I'm assuming he drank his blood through his mouth. And I wish they would have shown that, because that's how these vampires operate.
Yeah.
So Asa sends Dr. Cruvaillon back to the castle. And when he gets to the castle, the situation with the crucifix happens. And he gets Constantine to leave. He's like, go to bed. But the daughter, Katya, she wants to stay with her dad, right? Doting daughter, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And it takes a minute for the doctor to actually get her to leave, right? Once she leaves, that's when Igor gets brought back in. Chaimovich gets brought in. And we actually don't get to see the full death that happens there.
Ah, yes.
But while that happens, there's like this whole sequence where the dogs are freaking out and... yeah, basically, once the dad has been killed, there's this whole sequence of events that takes place where Dr. Cruvaillon leaves the castle and they bring in Gorobek, and they basically yell at him for his friend ditching.
So then Gorobek questions Sonia, and she is able to identify Cruvaillon's escort from a painting of Chaimovich. So Gorobek takes a priest along with him.
The priest was played by Antonio Pier Federici.
He was very handsome.
He was a very handsome priest.
So yeah, he takes him over to Chaivovich's grave, and the pair find Cruvaillon's body inside the coffin. They realize that he is now one of the extra spooky undead, and they respond by driving a nail through his left eyeball.
Yep, left eye, left hand path.
So, yeah. Chaimovich throws Constantine into a death pit.
The pit that eats people.
The pit that eats people.
Interesting.
It's referencing Deathbed, the bed that eats.
And Star Wars.
And Star Wars, yeah.
Death pit. So then we have the draining of the youth scene. That's pretty cool. Asia goes to drain her of her blood, but the crucifix around her neck saves her. Gorobek enters the crypt to rescue Katia, but Chaimovich attacks his ass, physically forcing him all the way to the edge of the death pit. Constantine, who's been down there, hanging by a thread, he musters up his last bit of strength to yank Chaimovich into the pit instead, pushing Gorobek to safety. Gorobek takes off and finds Asia and Katia. Asia, she deceives Gorobek, pretending to be Katia, and insists to Gorobek that Katia is actually the witch. As you'd assume, he takes off yet again to kill Katia, except...
He's going to stab her through the left eye with a random jagged stick that he found in the crypt.
Any port in a storm. Except he notices how the crucifix she's wearing has no ill effects on her. That crucifix was doing a bit of compromising flesh in this film, except for that moment. And so then he returns to Asia and opens her robe, revealing her fleshless skeletal frame.
Which was awesome.
That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, very cool special effect. Lots of bones, some wiggly stuff, some skin flaps. I was digging it. So the priest shows up along with a mob of villagers.
Always bring a mob of villagers with pitchforks, shovels, and torches.
Right.
And Asia finally gets the burning alive that she's deserved all along.
Well,
Katia awakens from her stupor.
I just don't, maybe if they hadn't tried to burn her alive 200 years ago, this whole thing wouldn't have happened,
Yeah. If they had just let her kick it with the devil then and minded their own business, everything would have been fine.
Exactly.
She wouldn't have cursed their descendants.
Well, the rain came and the rain bailed her out.
But it didn't, because they had already nailed a devil mask to her face.
True. If I could turn back time.
Puts an odd spin on that song. I mean, just the I'll take back all the things that hurt you and you'd stay. I mean...
And you'd stay. I love the key change in that when she just sings it like an octave higher. It's like really lifted me up.
If I could reach the stars, I'd give them all to you.
Yep.
Love lifts us up where we belong.
JD, I'm sorry.
Where the eagle flies.
Joe, shut up. Let
mountain
JD
high.
finish.
We're so close. Just a few more lines.
We're just edging the story right now. Just not letting it finish.
We really are, and it's about to be a very sad ejaculation.
This whole show is a sad ejaculation.
Life is a sad ejaculation.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're edging to the point of no return and then letting go.
Yeah, sadly.
Let him do it. Let him finish.
So Katia awakens from her stupor. Her gorgeousness and youth return, along with superior blood flow to Gorobek's meaty cock.
Oh my God.
All right, buddy.
And that's the end of the film.
Why do you put that in your notes? Why did you put that in your notes?
Because I knew it would make you go, why did you put that in your notes? Why did you put that in your notes? That's why, Kane. That's why.
Okay,
I can't help myself.
That's fine.
I live to make you laugh.
All right, well, real quick, we're going to talk about the score. It made some choices.
Sometimes it was really good.
It was never abrasive, though.
Yeah, it was never annoying. Sometimes it kind of sounded like the Carpenters a little bit.
A little bit, but it was the 60s.
It could have been worse. It could have been Eyes Without a Face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough. But no, Roberto Nicolosi did the music. And I thought, sometimes when the music was on point, it really captured the scene.
Yeah.
And then there are other times where it decided it wanted to do its own thing. But that also was kind of endearing. I enjoyed that as well.
And it was always going hard. Like, even when it didn't make sense, or like it kind of sounded like the soundtrack to Casablanca a little bit. It was always just going as hard as it could.
Exactly.
And I admire that.
All right.
What?
Joe, why don't you tell us about the writer and the cinematographer?
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that for you.
Yeah, you fucking can.
Based on a tale by Nikolai Gogol, incidentally the guy that the band Gogol Bordello was named after. Born in 1852, a Russian writer of Ukrainian descent, one of the innovators of the idea of the grotesque in literature, which is the idea of some shit that like it makes you feel weird, it makes you feel uncomfortable, but you also feel sort of empathy, and that directs your brain to cause you to empathize with something that's upsetting, which is also used a lot in horror. And also an early adapter of surrealism. So he wanted to make you feel some ways about some things. He had kind of a weird life. His books were censored by the Tsarist government. He traveled around Europe specifically to like get away from that. He lived in Italy for a while. He lived a bunch of places. And apparently was troubled by religiously based guilt and depression because of the shit that he was writing.
You hear that, kids?
You know, I too am troubled by religious guilt and depression.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Well, I was raised Catholic and I'm no longer Catholic, but it's like a haunting thing, you know? It's like it'll enter your minds from time to time, and it is kind of shitty.
Yeah.
I've heard that upbringing can really like put a print on your brain.
A little bit.
Yep, it's always at least somewhat there.
Sure.
Even when you've, professed your love of Satan, it's always kind of just in the background. Being raised in a religious family can definitely alter, like the guilt issues that I dealt with through my 20s is directly related to my religious upbringing.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, you could be in devout service to the Dark Lord and still have those other thoughts.
I've gotten to the point now where it's not as effective. It doesn't mess with me as much as it did when I was younger, but it's still, it imprinted on me.
Right on. Because I was raised with religion, but in a more hands-off way. So like once I broke that initial seal, then it was fine. I was over it.
Right.
But I have heard that like that more strict religious upbringing can really leave a mark on your developing brain.
Yep.
And yeah, Nikolai Gogol also had that experience, even as he was writing, very surreal, very dark shit and living like a pretty cool author life, traveling and experiencing. He was troubled by and very distressed by guilt for the things that he was putting out into the world. Up to the point where he burned some of his own manuscripts. And after this, he took to his bed and he like wouldn't eat and drink for like 10 days. And apparently he died in great pain and distress.
Gee, I better eat something because I'm on day 9 right now.
What? Okay. There's some weird shit after his death. He was buried in a monastery with a stone and an Orthodox cross, much like the one we saw in the film. And when the monastery was set to be demolished for whatever reason, I couldn't find why. They were just going to tear it down. He was found face down, which the rumor was that he was buried alive.
Oh, wow.
Was he
Were you going to say face down, ass up, JD? Is that where you're going with that?
Yeah.
I'm glad that you could find that joke in this fucking tragic story of this tortured artist.
Day drinking.
Day drinking.
Day drinking.
Day drinking. Now you've thrown me off of my notes. Shit.
Well, how's it feel, Joe?
To treat me like you do. And there was some weird stuff with like when they relocated him, like they took the Orthodox cross away from his grave and then they brought it back later. And there's some weird shit with that. But yeah, he had a very tragic life and then a very weird death.
People made movies based off of his stories.
And then, people made movies. Thank you for giving me a segue there.
So part of him lives on.
Yeah. In fact, there are 15 horror films with his name attached to them, including, and I don't speak fucking Russian or whatever, VIY, pronounce it however you want, because I didn't look it up. A Holy Place, Burnt Hickory, and The Mask of Satan. Some of his movies were made in Russia or Eastern Europe, so they're in those languages. but all of them look very interesting, and I might check them out after this.
We could almost make a season out of that.
Yeah, for sure. There'd be a lot of subtitles and a lot of words in languages that we're not going to pronounce correctly.
So,
well, I mean, that's never stopped us before.
We're going to stay consistent is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So then who wrote the story? We know that this was based loosely on Vi.
You're just trying to keep me on task. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the screenplay was written by Anthony Danza, who later went on to star in American television.
Oh, I see. He tried to sneak that in under you.
He did.
I did.
He thought if he said Anthony, I wasn't going to catch it. But it's the
I'm
Danza.
tricky.
That's what always gets my attention, not the Tony part. Why don't we try this again, this time with less fuckery?
Okay. The screenplay was written by, and again, I don't speak Italian. I apologize to Italian speakers, Ennio De Coccini and Mario Serendre. Coccini was an Italian writer, director, and producer who won the Academy Award in 1962 for Best Original Screenplay for the film Divorce Italian Style. He had a long career, didn't do a ton of work in horror. He did write The Evil Eye, though, which was another Bava film. Mario Serendre was another Italian writer and primarily an editor in the world of film. He edited over 200 films, primarily Italian films, over the course of his career.
200 doing work.
Yeah. He didn't really do much as a writer, though. None of it was horror, so did a lot of editing.
Right.
Yeah. And Mario Bava and a couple of other people were uncredited writers, but I don't tend to really go into detail about uncredited writers. So
Right.
And the cinematographer was Mario Bava. So
Which is amazing.
yeah, the cinematography in this film was very good. It did a lot of cool things with the contrast between light and shadow. Like it almost looked like an ink drawing sometimes with the way that certain things were lit and certain things were dark.
Well, I mean, when the movie was being developed, they tried to make it Technicolor. And Bava was like, no, we're doing it black and white for this reason. And
right.
He was able to get a lot out of the medium because of that.
For sure. Yeah, that really served the aesthetic of the movie to do it in black and white in the very high contrast way that it was done.
Yep.
And that's all I care to talk about. So I'm going to go.
All right, JD, special effects.
You got it, babe. We're talking about Eugenio Bava, who developed several practical effects applied to this film, including a very articulated wax head with sort of a mechanized interior.
Oh, that's cool.
Used to represent Vaja's head as it burned in the fireplace. He even made a mask of Asia's face based off of photos of Barbara Steele.
Oh, wow.
So there was no life casting in that process, just Bava using his magical eye.
That's wild.
Exactly. It's just a really masterful sculptor. And so there was the scene where Asia's eyes, they sort of regenerate in her tomb while she was still laying there. And Bava, he got a little extra with all that. They constructed a hollow area in the tomb under the mask, and it was contained, like, I don't even know, some type of gooey concoction of rice and tomato soup representing blood and maggots. And then the eyes that we saw, those were actually poached eggs being pushed up.
The pros just used real maggots.
Oh, for sure.
We see you, Lucio Fulci.
Yeah, we definitely see you.
Willing to torture actors in the name of art.
But Bava was a little less willing to, apparently, so just went with the rice and the tomato soup.
It was effective.
Basically a brunch buffet of terror.
Brunch Buffet of Terror is a movie that needs to be
made. I was going to say, I want to see that horror movie. Brunch Buffet of Terror. Fucking demons coming out of mimosas and shit.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'd watch that.
He also designed the mask of Satan with the nails that was being hammered into Steele's face.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I mean, the prosthetic holes in the face were fucking
beautiful.
Beautiful.
That face prosthetic was legit.
Even up close, like they zoom in on it and you're like, oh shit, that still looks really good.
Yeah. So yeah, basically this was all Eugenio Bava, who was very just excellently talented, a sculptor, also did some cinematography work, but most importantly known as a special effects pioneer that many special effects artists today have to tip their cap to. And that's about all for the special effects.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to our personal experience with the film. Joe, start us off.
Yep. I had never seen or heard of this movie before today. I had a great time with it. Everything in this movie was turned up to 11. The actors were going as hard as they could.
Everybody showed up to work ready to fucking work.
Yeah, like they were emoting like it felt like it was a stage play and they were acting for the back row.
Yeah.
They were just acting as hard as they fucking could. The music was occasionally weird, never subtle. At no point was the soundtrack just adding a decorative accent to the scene. It was always very present in the movie. And just, yeah, like everything about the movie was just to the max. And I appreciate a movie that's willing to do that. It lost me a little bit about like the 45 minute mark. I started to kind of space out a little bit. But then once real supernatural shit started happening, it picked me back up again and I was on board. That might just be my attention span more so than anything the movie had done wrong.
Right. That tracks.
Yeah. But yeah, I had fun. I would probably watch this movie again around like Halloween time.
Yeah. All right. JD, give us your personal experience with the movie.
I will. Black Sunday, really excellent film. Not my first rodeo. This one takes me back quite a ways. Let's see. Probably early high school aged was the first time that I had the pleasure of viewing this, and I regarded a few of the special effects scenes as some of my favorite, especially the reflection off of those poached eggs as they rose up into the mask. I felt like that sort of brought some life into the eyes, even though it was just a total optical illusion and probably happened by chance. I don't even know if they...
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Oh, it was amazing.
It did.
So, for a black and white film, not really in my mind connecting it to the timeline, it rose to my list of favorites quickly because I had always been a fan of the films that we had watched this season so far, and I felt like this particular episode might be my favorite of the season thus far for a good many reasons. I think what I enjoyed most about this is referring back to some of the compliments that Mario Bava received as a director. I feel like it's true that he treated a lot of this film as if he were like a painter. It was very sort of flowy, and there was moments of impressionism if you sort of picking up on that, and it very straightforward as a horror film, but also very artfully done. And that's just about all I have to say. Love Eugenio Bava, of course. I hold him in a high regard in terms of being a pioneer in, prosthetic and makeup effects and things of that nature. So, yeah. Kane, let's have you share your personal experience with the film.
I never have actually sat down and just watched this movie. It's always been a situation where hanging out with people, it would be in a list of movies that we had playing in the background, that kind of thing. I had thought that I'd never actually seen it until the scene with the guy in the grave, Dr. Kruvayan, when they stab him in the eye, that like jolted a memory. And I remember it being on kind of in the background. It would just catch my attention every now and then. But this was a fun movie. I had a great time watching it. I think that it's fun that Bava brought in Barbara Steele and John Richardson specifically because he wanted to make a play against Fisher's Dracula in the Hammer films.
Nice.
And Barbara was notoriously difficult to work with in this movie, which, again, I also think is really funny. But I had a great time. I loved the special effects. I loved how hard the actors were going.
Yeah.
And, this actually catapulted Barbara Steele to fame in Italy. And so that's why she ended up being in a bunch of Italian horror films. It's because of this film.
Nice.
I wonder if any of the personal dissonance that she brought to the table, I wonder if any of that helped her to depict the character that she portrayed, because I felt like she has such an expressive face in her eyes. And just when you guys talk about how all the actors were just going, they were on 11, I just felt like her physical acting, she was just on tilt for every bit of it.
Oh, sure.
Does anyone else have anything else to add?
No. Too drunk.
All right. If you watched Black Sunday, make sure to let us know what you think. You can find us at WeGiveYouBrainworms.com, as well as all the other places that podcasts live. Next week, we're covering Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. And we warn you against forgetting to like and subscribe on YouTube.
Yep.
And lick the bell.
Because you'll get the spiral side of the notebook against your junk if you don't.
You can't make that threat to listeners. You can only make that threat against me.
Oh. Ooh. Well, in that case, au revoir.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. And he's got the good blood.